Massachusetts to spend $50 million on EV charging projects. Hallelujah. EV sales expectations for 2024. You might notice that being a pattern on this channel. They're going up. Big surprise. Not to me, but maybe to some. There's a new list out of 5 cheap EVs to buy in 2024 that you won't regret, and you won't. Ford actually is planning to build some smaller, cheaper EVs to offset some of their losses and to make EVs more affordable, but only in Europe. Ford, what's up with that, dude? We need them here. Are EVs even worth it? Spoiler alert, yes. And the question on everyone's mind is where in the universe is Starman and Elon's Roadster that he launched into space 6 years ago? I bet you're dying to know. Well, it's Friday, February 9th, 2024. Let's get to it. Hey, EV people. Happy Friday. So great news for me anyway, because I live in Massachusetts and I'm excited about this. Massachusetts has pledged $50 million for EV charging projects in the Commonwealth. Yes. Now, the best news about this is where the biggest allocation of money is going. $12.5 million will go toward helping EV owners in apartment buildings who currently can't charge their car at home. Hallelujah. This is what we've been waiting for, right? People that live in apartments need a place to be able to charge their vehicle. Like, I get to charge at home because I have a house and a garage. But if you live in an apartment, especially like Boston, Springfield, Worcester, yeah, it's tough. And so this project will be to install more curbside level 2 charging stations and like the accessible pole mounted street lamp charging stations. There's a bunch of those in Boston now, but still not enough. I'm glad they're going to be putting more in. It's fantastic. This is what we need, and this is what we need from more state funding for EV charging. It's not just DC fast charging, but we do need that. But we need level 2 charging for apartment buildings and condominiums, that kind of thing. Like, to be able to give people that live in those types of dwellings a way to charge EVs, because I mean it's tough now, and I mean, this will encourage more people. Hopefully, if they're thinking, well, hey, now I live in an apartment in downtown Boston, but hey, now I can charge an EV because I'll have charging right outside the building, and that is the way to go. They're also going to be putting about $9.5 million into medium and heavy duty vehicles like the state fleet, like work trucks, that kind of stuff. So I like to see that too, because the more EVs of every kind on the road, the better it is for everybody. And they're going to be also putting a bunch of money into charging and helping out Lyft and Uber drivers to drive EV vehicles. So there'll be some incentives there, just to get, especially because they drive a lot, right? Their cars are on the road. If you're an Uber driver, a Lyft driver, some people do it full time, but even if you're doing it full time, it's still probably hours at a time that you're out on the road. And if you're driving an ICE car, that's just hours that you're pumping pollution into the air. So EVs give you the ability to spend all that time out there, hopefully earn some cash, but not have to worry about destroying the environment by doing so. And nice and quiet and fun. So it's all good. So EV sales expectations for 2024. Now, I've talked about this, and I'll keep talking about it. I'll probably never stop. I think 2024 is going to be a lull year. It's still going to be up, but probably not the insane sort of sharp increase that we've seen over the last few years. And I think, again, 2024 and maybe the first half of 25 is going to be a lull until we start to see an increase. And that's going to be because of, a better charging infrastructure. As Tesla opens up and the NEVI-funded chargers start to go on the ground, and we have things like what Massachusetts is doing, providing more level 2 charging, it will accelerate adoption of EVs. So we'll see a rapid acceleration again. I just think right now we're sort of like, it's been coming up, and now we're like, okay, and up again, right? So Inside Climate News, they put together a list of Auto Pacific, Cox Automotive, and S&P Global Mobility's predictions for overall car sales plus EVs for 2024. Auto Pacific has overall vehicle sales at 15.9 million, with 1.45 million being EVs, or 9%. Cox Automotive has 15.7 million expected overall sales in 24, with 1.57 million being EVs, 10%. And S&P Global Mobility, they put estimated sales at 15.9 million and 1.75 million for EVs, so that's 11%. So the mean is in the middle, 10%. I think that would be a pretty good percentage for 2024, again, because I don't think it's going to be a big jump this year. But still, the fact that we're over 10% in the U.S. is pretty good. Hopefully we'll see that rise and rise and rise, but I think for 2024 we're in good shape as far as that goes. So more EVs, that's all good, right? So let's just keep it going. And Car Edge put out a list of the 5 cheapest or 5 best cheap EVs that you can buy in 2024 and not regret it. And the list is fairly predictable. Top of the list is the Model 3 rear-wheel drive standard range. Awesome car. I've rented these before. It's just a good, value for money. The tech that comes with every Tesla is fantastic. Even if you don't have FSD and autopilot, it's still got tons of tech in these vehicles. They're just reliable and just good. And with a starting price of $40,380, that's before the tax credit, I believe. So that's pretty darn good. Kia EV6 was next at $43,975. Kia, Hyundai, killing it. High quality, awesome value for money. They pack a lot of tech in their vehicles and an unbelievable warranty. Just overall good stuff. Model Y, just like the Model 3, unbelievable value. Great car, supercharger network, out of the box, you're good to go. Mustang Mach-E, not my favorite car, but they're good. I think the GT is the really good one, but that's the one you're going to pay for. So at $44,795 for a base model, that's pretty good. And then you have the Ioniq 5, $44,580, just like the Kia EV6. Can't say enough about these cars. I just rented one recently. I love the way they look. I wasn't the biggest fan when they first came out. I wasn't sure. They looked weird in pictures, and they look small, but they're not small. It's a crossover SUV, hatchback, really. Big hatchback, but whatever. That's really grown on me. I really like the way these cars look. They're fun to drive. A lot of tech inside. It's a cool car. Fun to drive, and you can carry your small family around in it. Great car. So I can't really find too much fault with this list. It's actually pretty good. So, any one of these, I don't think you can really go wrong. I would say Model Y is probably tops for me, followed by the 3 or the Ioniq 5, or the EV6. All great. So you really can't go wrong. So if you're looking for an EV this year and you're not really sure, take a look at these. I think you'll find something that you like. And once the supercharger network opens up, you're going to be able to charge almost anywhere. So don't worry about that. And don't let the media tell you that you can't charge, because you can. Ford is planning to make some smaller, cheaper EVs, but only for Europe. I don't get Ford. What's up, dude? We need them here, I think I understand why they're doing it. They're doing it to sort of offset some of the losses from their investment in electric vehicles, but I think that's overblown, losses. Okay, it's an investment. There will be a return on that investment. It just doesn't happen overnight. As EVs become more popular, those losses will turn into gains. And honestly, they only have 2 electric models right now. They have the F-150 Lightning and the Mach-E. That's it. So they don't have a ton of EVs on the road in the U.S. I think if they did an electric Escape, it would blow away sales. An electric Maverick, hello, do that. Just overall, an electric Maverick would be sick, but an electric Maverick Raptor version, high horsepower, fancy electric Maverick would be wild. I would be down for that. And then, if they made an electric Explorer in the U.S., Look at the EV9. Take a lesson from that. That is, they're flying off the lots. Electric Explorer, full size, be huge. So Ford, we need the more affordable, smaller EVs here, though, not just in Europe. All right, bring them to the U.S. It's America first, baby. Come on. And I saw JD Power had an article about whether or not EVs are worth it. And I think, obviously, if you're here and you're watching this right now, you know that they totally are, right? They sort of list the pros of EV ownership, lower energy costs, which is absolutely true. Costs way less to, fuel up an EV than it does to put gas in a nice car. It's not even close. Even when gas prices come down, EVs are still way more economical. I mean, I've had an EV for almost 2 years. Now, granted, I don't drive a ton. I don't put a lot of miles on it, but I plug in maybe once a week. If I'm driving a bunch, maybe twice. But my electric bill barely ever changed after I got that car. I mean, it's like my minuscule change to my electric bill. So charge off peak. I have a deal with the electric company because I registered my home charger. I mean, it is lower energy costs, fewer repair costs, as in none. Now, I think if you have to have something serious serviced on an EV, yeah, it is probably expensive. But the majority of EV owners could tell you that they don't need service. The only thing I've ever needed to do is rotate the tires, but there's no oil to change. There's no belts. There's no fluids to change. It's not, no mufflers. I mean, it's just, there's nothing to service. They just work. I mean, I rotate the tires and that's about it. I never touch the brakes. One pedal driving. Those brakes are going to be almost new when I'm done with that car. Of course, there's the tax incentives, absolutely. And, sustainability, and they're better for the environment. That's true. I mean, I think, again, I'm not a climate zealot, but let's be honest, climate change is real. And if you can do something to help fight it, you should, right? And then performance. And if I'm being honest, and I'll be honest, okay, with all you guys, let's just, between you and me, right? Performance. That's what initially attracted me to EVs, was the performance aspect of it. I mean, just when you press down on the accelerator and it shoots off like an electric rocket, I mean, there's just nothing like that push back in your seat and the tunnel vision. I mean, super awesome, and, they are fast. They are fast, and you have to be careful. I don't think you should go breaking speed laws or anything like that. But, when you're up on the highway and you're driving along and you need to pass somebody, you want to pass an 18-wheeler or something, you want to get past them, you punch it and you're gone, baby. You are going past. That is something you don't get in a combustion car. I mean, yes, you can get combustion cars that go fast, but not like that. It doesn't feel as smooth and clean and just awesome as it does in an EV. I mean, it's just so cool. I mean, I've never, I shouldn't say never, but I don't understand the people today that cling to the idea of a manual transmission being better. I see people all the time I wish they still made manuals. Why? That whole and you're and getting jerked around. I don't know how that's more fun. Maybe it is for some people, and if that's what you're into, then fine. But I just like that linear. You hit the accelerator and you're quiet and you're gone. To me, that makes it totally worth it. And there are still some cons. You talk about limited driving range, but that's getting better all the time. I mean, my Polestar 2 is about 240 miles of range, and the way I drive it's probably 230. But my Maxima that I had prior to that, when I would fill that up to the top, the range was 318 miles. So it's more, but not a ton more. I mean, and that wasn't really a performance car. I mean, it wasn't really necessarily an efficient car. I think it got maybe 24 miles to the gallon on the highway or something. It was a V6. It was a quick car. It was a fun car to drive, but I guess if you're going to compare it to, a Prius, well, that's a hybrid, so you're going to get better mileage, or, maybe a base Camry or Accord, probably going to get much better gas mileage and better range. But I mean, you're not going 500-600 miles in an ICE car, really, right? So, And, battery technology is getting better all the time. So within a few years, not only are we going to have price parity, but you're going to start seeing 500-mile range EVs as a standard thing. Lucid is close to that, but that's $100,000. But you'll start to see more affordable EVs with much longer range and faster charging times too. So those two things combined kind of gets rid of that limited charging infrastructure. That's going away. I think 24 and 25 are really going to see a major ramp up in the charging infrastructure, and then they have higher prices a con. But again, we've talked about this price parity between ICE cars and EVs. I mean, it was only about $2,000 difference in 2023. So we'll see what it is in 24. But I think by 26, 27, we're going to see prices are either going to be at parity, or you're going to see ICE cars rising above EVs. Like EVs are going to, on average, be cheaper than ICE cars within, I think, 2 to 3 years. So we'll see who's right, who's wrong. Pretty sure I'm right. And then the last thing that I'm sure you're losing sleep on over, you're losing sleep over every night, is it was 6 years ago this week when Elon launched his Roadster and Starman into space on a Falcon rocket. And, it was a big deal at the time. It was like he launched a car. That was kind of the beginning of sort of like kooky Elon, right? So you're probably wondering, like, where is it? Well, there is a website called Where is Roadster that is tracking it. It's using data from NASA. The website's actually kind of cool. It's just one page, but it's got a bunch of info, and it's like updates by the second, which is kind of cool. So like right now, its current location is 64,752,231 miles, or 5.79 light minutes from Earth, moving toward Earth at a speed of 5,290 miles per hour. And it's made a few trips around the sun at this point. It's achieved a fuel economy of 23,672.7 miles per gallon. If you assume 126,000 gallons of fuel, which it's an electric car, so I don't know what that's really about. But, actually, Starman has completed about, 3.9395 orbits around the sun since launch. So that's quite a long distance. So anyways, if you're interested in some just like weird, stupid facts that really don't have anything to do with EVs, it's just kind of, I thought it was interesting that I saw this, that it was 6 years ago this week that Elon launched the Roadster into space, and you want to see where it is? Now you know how to do it. I'll link it below. But anyway, it's Friday, y'all. So I hope you have had a great week. I hope you have a great weekend, Super Bowl weekend. I don't really have a dog in this fight this week, or this game, so I'm hoping that it's just a fun game to watch. I hope you all enjoy it, and I will talk to you on Monday. And remember, EVs are awesome, and it's okay to be awesome. See you next week.